Okay, I decided to make a real quick design tips and tricks. This is a trick of how to repair a door. If you see, this is client brought this door to me. It's about 10-15 years old. Somebody I think was roughhousing. Little kid, somebody went through the door. But needless to say, brought the door to me with damage. This door has a glaze. If you look right there, it's a black glaze that's around the edges. But it's pretty much a standard overlay door. This is, typically 2006 to 2018. We just, thousands of houses have this same type of door in it. But a couple things to know. You got a couple of pockets here and here. They have a little bit of a raised piece to them. That's not a big deal. We're going to take a vibrating tool or oscillating tool and cut those down flat so that we don't have any raised area. Took the handle knob off of it on this case. And then on the end of the door, if you look, there is a tenon. You can see right there. That's how the door is put together. So what we're looking to do here is we're looking to measure from the outside of the door to just past the tip of that tenon, not on it, but inside of it, just a little bit inside of it. And that on this door is a 1 11/16. Okay, typically they'll be anywhere from 11/16 to 2 inches, according to how wide the rail is and whether it's a full overlay or standard overlay. Again, this one's standard overlay door, so 1 11/16 is right at the edge of the back side of this tenon. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to actually take and cut a notch out of the back of this frame using the table saw, and then remove this old panel that was in here, put a new piece of panel in, and then probably have to take a small molding. I'm going to try to salvage this piece, but probably take a small piece of molding and use that to tack back on the back of this so that the front of it will look, ready to finish, but the back of it, of course, will have the new piece of molding on it. But so I got a piece of masking tape on the fence, and I took the riving knife out, which the riving knife would get in your way. So that's actually on these table saws, you have to pull this handle and the knife comes out. It keeps 2x4s from binding up on you or something and spitting the wood back at you. Take the riving knife out, and you take the actual door, put it on the bed of the saw, and you bring it up to where the edge of the teeth, right there, the edge of the teeth are just touching the door. Okay, so that's the first one you do. The second one you do is you come over here on this side, the same thing, you bring it up to where the edge of the door right there is just starting to touch the teeth. And then that 1 11/16 that we wrote on our fence here, 1 11/16 is how much back from that mark that you make your permanent mark. So like this mark is the front edge leading, this is the rear edge leading to where a tooth touches. Then you come 1 11/16 this way, 1 11/16 that way. Okay, now that's going to set you up to be able to run the actual door through the saw, but the width right here is going to actually come from that 1 11/16 as well. So thankfully ours has a gauge, so we'll run this up here to 1 11/16. We're going to double check, of course, anything you're doing that's fine work, you want to double check, and that is 1 11. So now when I run this through, I will start with my door at the black line up in the air, and then I will lay the door down onto the saw blade. Okay, now the way I've gotten, let's do that real quick. The way I've gotten this height, what this height is I actually put the door on top of the blade like that, with the blade all the way down. So the blade is all the way down, the door's not touching anything, and I crank the blade up. Now the blade is in this area, it's in the flat spot of this area. I crank the blade up just to the door starts to move, okay, just slightly above, so that I know that my cut that I'm about to make is actually going to go to the thickness of this panel on the back. To give you an idea, it's going to cut this material here to that thickness, okay? So again, going to that thickness, I won't come through the front of the door. So again, let's put this back on 1 11/16. And then let me get the oscillating tool and trim these down to where we have a flush surface and we don't have a difference in thickness. Hold on a second. All right. So I took the oscillating blade and I went ahead and cut these down to where they're smooth. And then the actual hinge will cover any kind of little rub marks. Again, it's just a repair of the door. So now I've got a flat back piece on all 4 sides. So let's check our measurements, check our stuff again. I'm going to run this through the saw so that you can actually see what it looks like when it's cut out. Now, of course, it's impossible to do this with one hand, and I do not want to use a table saw with one hand. But here's where your mark is, right there. That is 1 11/16. There is where the panel has cut through to this thickness. And again, I'm over here to this side. So now I'm going to run it back through the other side. And again, I'm going to cut out that same amount to where I have this fully exposed all the way around. All right, so there's the back of it. And like I was telling you, this little piece comes out. And what you will have when you're done is these corners that have to be done. This also looks like this one has some staples in it. So let's pop this out. I'm going to use both hands. Okay, so there it is removed. It came out kicking and screaming. But again, got it all out as one piece. And I am able to use it to color match for the new stain color. But this is what you'll have, which is the front. Got to take a chisel and clean up this corner here, get some of that out of there. But the new piece would just be a piece of skin. It's going to be the same thickness of material, which is right at 3/32, a little over an 1/8 inch maple. And we'll cut it to fit just inside this frame. Once we get that done, I'll take a piece of molding, and I'll cut a thin piece of molding to go around on the outside of this to give me some thickness to where I can staple through this whole thickness here, as well as glue this to where the panel will fit inside of that area. But these corners, they'll have to be filled, they'll have to be touched up, but otherwise the front of it will look clean. And here's how you take the panel out of a door. You could do it for glass or repair or whatever. So just to give you some idea of how that's done. Okay, here's the final product. So on the right here, this is yeah. On the left is the finished door. And so we stained the panel, we finished the panel before we put it in the door. It is a satin finish. Probably will need to have a little more gloss put on it if they want to do that, but you need to let it breathe and dry and then darken it with gloss if you want to do, you know, a finish gloss on it. On the back, this is a little picture frame molding, and that's a step. It has a lip on it and a drop down to touch the back of the panel. So that little piece of molding is there. If we were doing glass, that would be what was retaining the glass. Otherwise, it's just to retain this panel. Now the panel's got glue on it. We did do the hang-ups and the glazings on the corners. So again, all that has to dry good. If you wanted to go back and put just a slightly shinier center to this or wax it, you could also wax it to get whatever you want. So that's the repair. Again, just to give you some idea of cost, this was about 2 hours shop time plus materials, so it was $150 to do the repair. Some people that's perfect. Other people that need a repair, It's cheap. So, any questions about anything, feel free to call me, 423-650-1051. Have a great day.